Hi everyone! Most of our viewers have probably seen Avengers Endgame and experienced a variety of emotions, from delight to resentment and from sadness to irritation. Today we want to talk about what will happen to one of the most famous superhero teams in the future after the Endgame. After all, some of the familiar and beloved characters will not be there to save the world anymore. Spoiler alert though, if you still have not seen this movie then be very careful because this video will be full of spoilers. Let's get it on. Captain America. The fact that Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans, will probably never appear on the screen again is hardly a spoiler. Fans already knew that some actors had finished their contracts with Marvel Studios, so no wonder that Captain America was one of the characters who left the universe. Thankfully, Cap did not die by sacrificing himself to save other people's lives, but finally reunited with Peggy Carter. He passed his shield to a friend, Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. The end of Avengers Endgame seems to hint that it is Wilson who can become the new Captain America. After all, why not? In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Sam is a former US Air Force pilot, which means he may as well be a decent replacement for Rogers. Of course, Falcon is not an artificially created super soldier, but he is a really worthy warrior committed to the cause. In addition, he is already a member of the Avengers and will certainly be able to take on more responsibilities and wield the shield at the same time. Valkyrie. The first setup of the Avengers team consisted almost entirely of men, but the next one may as well become more diverse in terms of gender, so it is quite possible to see Valkyrie in the new team. Just think about it. She's not only an experienced warrior armed with a sword, but also an Asgardian, which means that she has superhuman strength, endurance, speed, stamina, and reflexes. In addition, don't forget that she's the leader of her squad, which means that she surpasses all her fellow Valkyries in force. She's stronger than Loki, and is almost on par with Thor and Hulk. She's a perfect candidate for the Avengers team. In addition, she's an experienced pilot who can easily fly a number of spaceships. Also, Valkyrie, like every Asgardian, ages much slower, which allows her to stay in shape longer for many years. Any superhero team would want such a fighter, and the Avengers are no exception. Well, if you need more arguments, remember how Thor treats her? The God of Thunder himself announced Valkyrie the Queen of New Asgard, and this, by the way, means something.
Finished. Bye.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Come on.
In the comic books, the Wasp was one of the founders of the Avengers and joined the team in the first issue of the comic series Avengers #1. She is most famous for her involvement with the Avengers, and it seems strange that Marvel made her a part of the cinematic universe much later. The same is true for Scott Lang. He was also an Avenger in the comics, but for some reason it took Marvel a while to get him to screen. Perhaps the filmmakers were simply afraid to work with the subject of shrinking, because this trick has long gone out of style in the movie industry. Anyway, after 2 successful solo movies and showing Ant-Man and the Wasp in a couple of movies with other superheroes, we can safely say that they will make excellent Avengers. You have to admit, it's always good to have a couple of really cool heroes who can shrink or grow large depending on the situation.
Awesome.
If only Cap could see you now.
Hilarious.
Shuri. If you're not familiar with all these new characters who have appeared in the latest movies, we'll help you out. Shuri is the Princess of Wakanda, sister of T'Challa and a genius-level inventor. She has developed many modern technologies for her country. For example, 2 versions of the Panther suit at once. Shuri also helped Bucky Barnes erase the Hydra program from his mind, and then did all she could to remove the Mind Stone from Vision's head. All in all, she's a really cool character, definitely worthy of joining the Avengers' new team. But whose place will she take there? Well, given the fact that Tony Stark died, sacrificing himself to save the universe,
everywhere I go, I see his face.
we can assume that she will take his place. Not literally, of course, she won't be wearing a suit and all that, but Shuri has a real talent and an incredibly high intellect. She will certainly be able to create new technical devices, costumes, and weapons, and help the Avengers as a brilliant scientist. In the end, how can you fight the evil which comes from other dimensions if you don't understand anything about these dimensions? It seems that the Avengers team simply can't do without Shuri, and she will most likely join them.
Shuri!
Doctor Strange. For people familiar with both MCU and Marvel comics, Strange's involvement in the Avengers' affairs is no news. He is a superhero, and superheroes must stick together when it comes to protecting humanity. At one point, he even joined the new Avengers team after the end of the Civil War. Then he left the team several times and then joined the Avengers again, but still he can certainly be considered one of the permanent members on the Avengers team. So after the events of Endgame, Strange could also join the team. Magic could prove useful in saving the world. Besides, he has really outstanding abilities, an extraordinary mind. Well, he is Benedict Cumberbatch after all. It's always good to have him on your side. Black Panther. A good man with a kind heart and a number of superpowers. What else do you need to join the Avengers? Fast, tough, and agile too. T'Challa can be a perfect addition to any team of superheroes. Add to this his intelligence, knowledge of martial arts, tactics, strategy, skills of an acrobat, and a pilot. You see that you get an excellent set of skills for a new cool superhero who's guarding the Earth. And let's admit it, the Avengers really need Black Panther. Because Black Widow died, Hawkeye would probably retire and turn to his family, and Hulk seems to have serious health issues after using the Infinity Gauntlet. The team needs someone strong, fast, and clever, but at the same time wise enough to make serious decisions. No offense, Spider-Man, you're not mature enough for this. But the King of Wakanda can just be the perfect choice. However, Spider-Man also deserves not only a place in the Avengers team, but also a special mention in today's video. Spider-Man. The scene where Peter Parker gets dusted can be considered one of the most heartbreaking in Avengers Infinity War, all thanks to the acting of Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr., of course. But fortunately, Spider-Man, like the rest of the disintegrated heroes, returned in Endgame. Can he become a member of the new Avengers? Well, of course he can. After all, joining the Avengers was Peter's longtime dream.
Nick Fury's calling you.
I don't really want to talk to Nick
Answer
Fury.
the phone.
Why?
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
And since in the Infinity War, Tony officially knighted Peter into the Avengers, hardly anyone would argue with that. Moreover, if we look at the comics, we can see that Spider-Man has repeatedly joined various superhero teams. The Avengers, the New Avengers, and even the Fantastic Four. What, you thought that Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, the Human Torch, and the Thing saved the world all by themselves? Peter Parker has a long superhero career ahead of him, and we hope that Tom Holland will play your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in many movies. After all, he does a terrific job at that.
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
Captain Marvel. After Thanos wiped out half of the universe in the Infinity War, Nick Fury sent a mysterious message to an unknown superhero, and all the comic book fans immediately understood what was about to happen. And indeed, Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, joined the Avengers. Because against an enemy like Thanos, you need to use all the strength you have, and Carol has many unique abilities: superhuman strength, stamina, speed, agility, energy manipulation, and even flying. Add to this simple human skills like accuracy, the ability to handle everything that flies, and so on. Just what the Avengers team needs. Hardly anyone would say that such a hero would not be welcomed among the Avengers. She might even be too strong for the regular villains the Avengers deal with. But hey, who knows when a next Thanos or an army of alien invaders will appear? Better be ready for anything. The Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor. Not only the Avengers team went through changes after the Endgame, it also happened with the Guardians of the Galaxy. After the main battle was over, Thor, the very superhero who was a part of the Avengers practically from the very beginning, decided to go the other way. As we have already mentioned, he handed over the rule over New Asgard to Valkyrie, announced she's a new queen, and then joined the Guardians of the Galaxy. Sounds weird, but the Guardians are not only the characters from the first movie like Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, and Drax. In the comics, superheroes change teams quite often, work alone, and generally do whatever they want, still focusing on saving the world, of course. In addition, in some sense, Thor is better with the Guardian team than with the Avengers. After all, he is from another world, and he feels quite comfortable during space travels. And imagine how many different jokes writers can come up with when such different but funny characters come together. We believe this is a great idea, and knowing how creative the writers of the Marvel team are, we won't be surprised if the Guardians of the Galaxy decide to join the Avengers at some point. Hey, stop being lazy, it's time to use that brain of yours. Welcome to Brain Time. Incredible facts from the past, the present, and even the future. The power of nature and wild animals, amazing facts and unsolved mysteries. You'll find all this and much more here. Subscribe now, you won't regret it.